Good morning, this is Jared Morris with Settled Christianity coming at you today with day 8 of the Holiness Challenge. I'm back here filming outside. The sky above me is a little gray, but I think the rain is going to hold off for just long enough for me to do this video. And the idea that I want to give you today it comes from Matthew 12 and also Luke 11, I believe. And it's a passage that you might be aware of, and it's one of those kind of like passages that you kind of notice when you read through and you're like, oh, that's kind of a strange passage. And Jesus is talking and he says basically, here's a man who's kicked an unclean spirit out of his life. He says an unclean spirit goes and walks around dry places, and he says that the spirit returns to find the place where he resided to be cleaned and swept and empty, essentially. And he says that he takes 7 more spirits more wicked than himself, and he goes into the man, and the last state of the man is worse than the first state of the man. And what I want to talk about is this idea of, in our pursuit of holiness, we need to make sure we are replacing the sins in our life with something holy. And I think this is a big struggle for people, that they think, I'm just gonna overcome this sin. I'm just gonna get this out of my life. I'm not gonna drink anymore. I'm gonna just stop drinking. And then they leave all the times that they would be drinking, and they just do nothing with it. And what happens is that Satan really works in those moments and chips away. And when we leave it, we're gonna find that we're gonna eventually fall back if we've not replaced it with something. And so take note. Think back and take note of, when do I usually sin? When do I usually fall into these sins? And in those moments, make it a point to do something holy. If you sin, late at night, make sure you are listening to sermons when you're getting ready for bed. Make sure that's when you keep your late, make sure you're reading your Bible around that time, or you're praying around that time. And as we do this, as we are able to replace these sins in our lives with holy acts, we're going to be able to overcome these sins easier. The whole point of this, as I've said, is that as we go through the month, we're going to find the habits that sin have created in our lives are going to be overcome by the end of the month, hopefully, in this holiness challenge. But the whole idea is that the only way that that's possible is if we replace the sinful habits with habits that are of holiness. That we build up habits of doing holy acts and doing godly acts and of pursuing God. And this is the only way we can do it. So I encourage you, make it a point today to look at the times when I sin in the past. Well, what times of the day do I usually fail? What situations do I usually fail? And in those times and in those situations, make it a point to go above and beyond in your pursuit of holiness. Make it a point to go above and beyond in your pursuit of God. Read and pray in those moments. Sing a hymn. Just do something new to start building up that habit towards holiness. And as the last passage says, it was the last verse, that if you fail to do this, you're going to fall back in the sin. You're actually going to be worse than if you had just remained in the sin all the way through. So it's just so crucial not to fall back into those old habits and to build new ones. But anyways, this has been Jared Morris with Settled Christianity. This is day 8. So very exciting. As always, please share with those who you feel will be helped. Please subscribe and like the video. It really helps us here in making these videos and coming up with new content, and especially with this whole month-long thing. It's very encouraging for me to see people getting help from these. Leave a comment if you're going along with the challenge and if you're getting help with it. But anyways, this has been Jared Morris with Settled Christianity, helping you continue in the faith.